You cannot cheat the marathon. No matter how much David Goggins or motivational content you watch, for the majority of people, if you haven't put the work in, your body simply won't be able to carry you over the 42 kilometers or 26 miles. I experienced this firsthand last year when I hit the notorious wall. And this is when you're completely depleted of energy and you've got nothing left in the tank. Now, the Sydney Marathon is coming up in a couple days, and by the time you're watching this video, there should be another one up on how I went. So go ahead and check that out. But regardless of the results, I want to walk you through what I did wrong in my own training process, what you should actually do, and share some scientifically backed facts so you can run the marathon successfully. So let's rewind to earlier this year to when I actually booked the marathon. All right, that's the Sydney Marathon 2024 registered. How exciting. Now, fortunately for me, this year I had the opportunity to travel, but unfortunately for me, this happened to be smack bang in the middle of the ideal training block for the Sydney Marathon. So I quickly put a plan into place, which was to get as fit as possible before I left. And I did. I worked off a 17-week Runna marathon plan, doing hills, long runs, intervals, tempos, everything. And I definitely got faster. I even started my own run club called LESHGO with my friend Matt. Let's go. This was by far the fittest and fastest I've ever been. And I set PBs in my 5Ks, 10Ks, 20Ks, and even 30Ks. But here's where things start to go wrong. The most important part of any marathon training is consistency. And what I didn't account for was how much fitness I'd lose in the 5 weeks I was away. Whilst I did try to run overseas, taking a break definitely disrupted my whole momentum, and it was really hard to get back into the swing of things. This was what my marathon training should have looked like, and this was what it actually looked like. When I came back, I had 7 weeks to get back into shape, but I think I made some pretty rookie mistakes during that time. Number one, I was increasing my mileage way too quickly. So increasing your mileage without proper progression can actually lead to injury or overtraining. I went from running 0 kilometers to running a marathon in New York, check out that video if you haven't already, to running 11 kilometers, to then 64 kilometers, which is just insane. Generally, you should follow the 10% rule, which states that your training load shouldn't increase by more than 10% a week. Number two, I was skipping rest days and running longer than recommended to try and make up for lost time. So obviously this can lead to overtraining and muscle fatigue. And I definitely felt this. My legs were constantly sore, and despite putting in more effort, I was still running slower. It takes several weeks, if not months, for your body to adapt to training. So trying to rush through the adaptation phase is just not smart at all. So what should you actually do, and what are some of the things that I think have gone well? I mentioned this before, but staying consistent is really key. My friend Matt was at a similar level of fitness to me when I took my break. However, during the time I was away, he was running consistently for 90 kilometers a week. The difference in our predicted time is around 40 minutes, but stay tuned, there'll be a video on that shortly. I am, however, happy with the consistency that I put in before I went on the break. Number two, stick to a plan. For me, I used to run a training plan, and it was just honestly really helpful to keep me motivated and disciplined. It just means that I don't have to think about what I have to do during the week, and it just helps me a lot in setting up structured runs. So your long runs, tempo runs, intervals are all set up.
Intervals right now, not easy, not easy.
This isn't a sponsored video at all, but I would recommend it, and you can get a 2-week free trial using the code LESHGO. And finally, number three, strength training. So generally, strength training is really good to help prevent injury and improve overall performance. Runner's Plan was great for this as well, as it also incorporates a structured strength plan, which was something that I've never actually done before. I think the work that I did before going on holidays really did build some good foundations. So I set a 10K PB at the City to Surf last month, which was just completely unexpected, but I definitely pushed myself very hard, and this may have been a bit stupid as it left me quite sore. Okay, so what's my overall marathon plan? Quite honestly, I have no idea how I'm going to perform in this marathon. My legs have been feeling very heavy over the past weeks, and I just haven't had the opportunities to trial my pacing or fueling strategies. In fact, my last long run of 32 kilometers was really grim.
32K long run today. Nice and easy. Got a bit of pace in there. Epic.
I collapsed at a pace of 5 minutes and 55 seconds per kilometer. And I don't think that was due to a lack of cardiovascular endurance, but rather muscle fatigue, which is just going to be my biggest concern going into this marathon.
My legs are absolutely gone. It's going to be rough.
Still, the goal is to take a gel every 5 kilometers. I'll be running in my newish Vaporfly 3s, which I got after I came back from holidays. And I've also got this epic LESHGO singlet, which is guaranteed to give me a speed boost. Now, let's talk about the 3 scientific hacks that I'll be using on rest day. Mentally, I'm going to try and treat this race as a 10-kilometer warm-up into a 32-kilometer race, instead of the other way around where I'm trying to hang on the back end. Studies actually show that starting slower has psychological benefits. It allows you to ease into the race and gradually build, which helps you maintain focus and decrease the perceived difficulty of the actual race. Number 2 is confidence. Now, I found this super interesting, but the biggest predictor of someone hitting the wall was if they had the expectation of hitting the wall.
Just past the 12K mark.
Feeling good.
Feeling good.
Bonk ready.
Bonk ready. Big time. Too fast. Too fast. Hit the wall pretty badly. 8K's out.
So my plan is to gaslight myself into thinking the war is a fugazi.
Fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist.
Now, it's a bit hard to do that given how I've been feeling over the past couple weeks, but essentially I'll just be listening to my body and adjusting accordingly throughout the race. And finally, number 3, run with a pack. Now, this may be stupid, but my plan is to hang with the 3-hour, 50-minute paces and see how I feel. Basically gap them if I'm feeling good, or just try and hang on if I'm not feeling so good. Running with the pace group has been proven to have mental benefits and decrease the perceived effort. It's a bit ambitious given my long run times. I really have no evidence over the past month that I can run that fast and hang on, but I think it's okay to be a bit ambitious and we'll see what happens.
10K easy today. Super chill. 2 weeks out.
The weather is forecasted to be nice and chilly, which is the big plus. And whilst getting a PB would be really nice, running a marathon is also about the environment and energy, which I'm really, really excited for. This year is going to be the biggest marathon ever in Australia, so I just know it's going to be an epic day. Hope to see all you guys out there.
Okay, so this is the last run before the marathon. A bit nervous, but happy with the work I put in. And I think I'm just more excited than ever to actually run the race. I had a really good time last year, so hopefully this year will be just as fun. Excited to see how we go. Let's go.